I can only show you some, few institutions here in the map, whether it is IASC or it is NCPS or many good institutes are in Bangalore. There are equally good institutes which are in two-tier cities like Hubli and, Bagalkot and Bidar, and this is where we do hope innovate the startup world. So that is a great contribution these institutions are making. This is just a slide showing who are all the big players here. And again, I would like to mention, it's not just the big industry, even a small startup like Navya. Navya is in Hubli Dharwad, and this is where we are seeing a lot of promise, because these are the cities where, biotech products or biotech innovations can really matter. In 2001, Karnataka had this first edition of policy, followed by the next, that is the Millennium Biotech Policy, which actually kind of put the foundation for growth of many of the institutions. The policy kind of gives incentives and concessions, and more than that, its focus on improving institutions and giving them continuous support. It's not one-time capex, but it is continuous support that is being given that is responsible for the growth that we see today. And single window mechanism is also put in place to ensure improve ease of doing business, which is the buzzword today and which is what we are continuously working on. Recently, we also came up with a startup policy, and reference to this has been made in the morning. It's a multi-sector startup policy, and the key elements of this startup policy are, number one, we are going to assist the postgraduate colleges to set up an incubator in the colleges so that student projects can be taken up. Number two, expanding the incubation space both on PPP basis and also in association with industry bodies. And number three is the early stage grant. As of now, early stage grant is given by BIRAC under its big fund. In the startup policy, we are talking about replicating this very hugely successful and popular scheme so that many of our startups can avail of this early stage funding to convert their ideas into prototypes. And fourthly, a startup cell has been established in the Department of Biotechnology, Information Technology and Biotechnology to handhold startups, and filing of returns and payments has also been made online, and Pollution Control Board has also introduced an online consent management system. So this is just a work in progress. More departments are coming forward with putting systems online to ensure that the physical touch points are reduced and the process is hastened and expedited. The opportunities that we would like investors to look at closely is the bio-innovation clusters that we wish to set up, not just in the 5 locations I mentioned here, but in many more. Already our bio-innovation center is functional with startups occupying the space. It is a state-of-the-art bio-innovation facility with wet labs and other required infrastructure. Similarly, we are setting up in Mysore along with CFTRI, in Mangalore along with the College of Fisheries, and in Bidar along with the University of Veterinary Sciences, and Dharwad along with the University of Agriculture Sciences. We hope and kind of would like more investors to show interest and come forward to set up such clusters across Karnataka in collaboration with Government of Karnataka. These are the avenues of investment. Apart from that, there are many key areas where investment is required, whether it is in terms of agriculture products, whether they could be biotech crops, aerobic rice or sugarcane, alternative products that we are talking about, vaccine technologies or new drugs discovery to be done, synthetic biology, or in terms of environment, because today all of us are concerned with managing climate change, and of course with biofuels and marine biology. These are the sectors we think are important. There are many other areas where investment can definitely happen, and as Government of Karnataka, we would like helping, or is a kind of is helping people to bring both IT and BT together and use information technology to actually help in better diagnosis and better data analysis. So this is the strength of Karnataka going forward, the influence of IT on BT, the influence of BT on IT, and the confluence of both which can kind of open up a million opportunities for us to invest and also to innovate. For more information, you can visit our website or email us. Thank you very much for your time.
Kiran, of course, needs no introduction in the biotech sector, either in Bangalore, India, or in most part of the globe. 2005 Padma Bhushan recipient. She is also the Time magazine's one of the 100 influential people, and by the Forbes magazine's one of the 25 more recently influential people in the Southeast Asia. But beyond all that, all these numbers, I think what Kiran has done in Biocon is just setting up and making it an iconic institution for the biotechnology in India, and really have put Karnataka's face in the global map in a very, very prominent way. So together with that, I'll request Dr. Kiran Mazumdar Shah.
Thank you, Gautam, for that very kind introduction. Secretary ITBT, Srimati Manjula, friends on the dais, and ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to start by saying that when I started my company Biocon in 1978, there were very, very few backers for this sector. In fact, there were none. And that is why I give Karnataka government full credit for backing me at a time when this was absolutely an unknown sector. And thanks to that backing, I was able to build what is today considered Asia's largest biotech company. I'd also like to share with this audience that what sets Karnataka apart as a biotech destination for investment is the fact that not only does it have very rich human capital, which is really the most compelling reason for people to invest in this sector, but it has also created a very unique model for every other state and every other part of the world to emulate, which is a very close partnership between industry, academia, and the government. Never before has a vision group or a strategy group been created by any government body to really look at future technologies in a very integrated way. And I believe that this is what really sets it apart. And this is why today Karnataka is the premier state when it comes to biotechnology. I'd like to start my presentation by really using this very important quotation of Steve Jobs, who said, "Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower." And this is what Karnataka believes in. This is what makes Bangalore so important as a technology hub of the world, because we have believed in leveraging human capital to innovate. Now, I think the most important aspect of biotechnology is basically to create an innovative environment, which obviously means that you have to have risk takers. And I'm very pleased to say that Bangalore is the city that can boast of not only being the science capital of the world and the startup capital of the world today, but the reason it is the startup capital of the world is because it is the city with the largest number of first-generation entrepreneurs. Whenever you have first-generation entrepreneurs, it means you have risk takers. And it is this risk-taking capacity that has enabled Bangalore to be the startup capital of the country. Now, not only is it the startup capital in IT, but also in biotech. And this is what makes it a very important investment destination for anyone who's thinking of investing in biotech. I think you've also heard the statistics about Bangalore having half of multinationals R&D human capital of the country, which means that Bangalore has, of the entire R&D capital deployed in India, 50% of that capital residing in this very city. This tells you how important human capital is and why India is taking the lead when it comes to R&D centers. You just heard the Korean ambassador say that Samsung only has one R&D center outside Korea, and the largest R&D center, even when you look at Korea, is right here in Bangalore. This tells you how important Bangalore is as a destination for high technology. So therefore, when you talk about innovation and when you talk about the biotech sector, it starts with risk-taking. And you just heard from our secretary that to back risk-takers, we have also mimicked BIRAC's investment model when it comes to seed capital and seeding startups. And so whoever is looking at setting up a startup, I can honestly tell you that there is no other place like Bangalore to invest in. Now, having said that, you need to also make sure that this innovation is unique, is differentiated, and is path-breaking. And when you do that, you actually create high value. This is what the kind of startups we expect to do. Start, break paths, and create huge value. And many of these tech companies are finding that in a very short time, they're able to license their very high value technologies at premium valuations. So I think this is already demonstrated. We have a large number of startups that have actually licensed their proprietary technologies to multinational companies at very rich valuations. So I think this basically tells you that, innovation certainly is a forerunner in this, because we are developing these biosimilars and biologics, innovative biologics for global markets. Very exciting field, and I think many other companies in India are actually starting with biosimilars. They are testing the waters because these take huge investments and it requires scale, which again takes huge capital investment as well. So R&D and capital investments are very huge, but again, India is a very attractive destination to really invest in capital and in research. And this is where companies like Biocon have taken the lead, and I am very confident in the next 10 years you will see that biologics are also going to command the same kind of stature that you have seen vaccines commanding in terms of volume. Now, when you come to leadership, which is what I think India and of course Karnataka wants to achieve, it is really about building scale. It is about building expertise, and it is about building excellence. In each of the sectors that I talked about, these are the investment needs of this sector. You have to invest in building scale. A lot of companies have built small proof of concept facilities and pilot plants, but they need to move ahead. They need to basically build scale, and this is where I think investment needs are very urgently needed. Companies like Biocon, of course, have significantly invested in building scale. We have also significantly invested in building expertise. But many companies have also started investing very heavily in building expertise. And it is this expertise that is seeing a large number of research services companies offering very cost-effective research services to global companies, which I think is also another very important business opportunity. Many of the large pharmaceutical companies are actually setting up or outsourcing research services from companies like Syngene, from companies like Jubilant Life Sciences, from companies like Origin, and many other such companies around the country, GVK Bio and many others. So I think this is another very big investment opportunity for companies getting into research services. And finally, it's about excellence. Unless we can differentiate ourselves through excellence, again, you will not be able to build scale. And again, I'm very pleased to say that today India is building excellence, and all the companies that I talked about are today recognized as having built that excellence. I think biotech is certainly recognized as a new growth engine for the Indian economy, and it's important for us to note that the Indian biotech industry has recorded 20% CAGR over the last 10 years, despite a large number of challenges that this sector has in terms of public sentiment towards biotechnology. Despite that, I think this industry has grown very, very rapidly. We have, set an ambition of being a $100 billion segment by 2025, and I think this is achievable, and that is what the whole biotech strategy is about, to put in enabling regulations and enabling policies that will help us to build this scale. Whether it's in biofuels, whether it's in biopharma, whether it is in bio-IT, or whether it is in enzymes, I think this is a huge opportunity, and I think this is an area where these dreams can be realized in a very realistic way. India is ranked 12th in the biotech sector globally and 3rd in the Asia-Pacific region after China and Korea. Exports contribute to over half of the Indian biotech industry revenues, largely in the form of bio-IT, biopharma, and enzymes. And I think, and agri-bio, where India is one of the largest exporters of BT cotton seeds. So I think you can see that these are very important sectors for the biotech sector in India, and this is where the investment opportunities are. When you talk about the innovation hub, I think what is the India advantage? It is the low cost of development, it is the large network of academic institutions, it is about the availability of scientific and engineering talent. When it comes to clinical research, it is the large pool of drug-naive patients. And then I think what India has to offer are genetic diversity in terms of patient populations, which then makes it a very interesting opportunity to have a very different strategy around clinical development. In terms of manufacturing, again, I think India ranks very high. It is among the top 12 biotech destinations in the world. And in terms of manufacturing, we rank number 2 after China. In terms of government support, the government aims to spend $3.7 billion on the biotech sector between 2012 and 2017. We have clearly got data to show that cost of manufacturing is significantly lower than that of the US, nearly half of that of Europe, and 40% less than even Asian countries. Manpower cost is less than half of that in the West, and it has the second highest number of US FDA approved plants after the US. So I think all these are very, very compelling reasons why companies should be investing in biotech in India, and of course particularly in Karnataka. I referred earlier on to this very unique partnership that we have created in Karnataka between industry, academia, and the government. Now here is another important virtuous cycle of innovation which requires a very close partnering between industry, academia, and entrepreneurs. I think academia needs to basically foster innovation that is licensed to startup entrepreneurs. The whole startup ecosystem in India will depend on innovation which is coming out of our academic labs. And these academic institutions will have to rely on licensing income and royalties when they license these to the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs must develop these innovations to a proof of concept pre-commercialization phase, where they basically add value and add further royalty and licensing income on the original innovation that they licensed from the academic institutions, and then industry finally has to come up and commercialize the final products, and then thereby be able to fund both the academics and the entrepreneurial networks by paying these royalties and fees that they are obliged to do. Now, in terms of Karnataka, I think we have a first mover advantage. We were the first state in the country to introduce a biotech policy in 2001. We have a huge research base. We have more than 100 R&D centers. We have sound infrastructure, especially sector-specific SEZs for biotech. We have the largest biotech cluster in India. However, I think we still believe that this ecosystem can be made more optimal. And in that, we are actually creating an enabling policy framework to allow startups and small, medium and large industry in the biotech sector to really thrive in terms of what they need to do. And in this, the vision group is really focusing on enabling and fixing some of those challenges. Bangalore, as you know, is India's science capital. It is considered to be the Silicon Valley of the East. Largest number of research institutes, largest scientific talent pool. It's the biotech capital and it is the startup capital. All this, of course, only points to a very, very rich human capital that makes it possible to enjoy that status. In terms of the biopharma sector, we believe that this is a huge opportunity for India to address. This is a huge opportunity for investors to address. This is a huge opportunity for international companies to base themselves in India to address some of these opportunities. The opportunities are as follows. We believe that the biosimilars market by 2020 is a 10 billion addressable market for companies operating out of India. We believe that developing new drugs in India in the biotech sector can address a $50 billion market by 2020. And when it comes to research and manufacturing services, this is a $40 billion market size to be addressed. India has the potential to certainly be the innovation hub for biosimilars and biologics. In fact, we believe that by 2025, this $10 billion will absolutely balloon to $50 billion. This is the size of the biosimilars market that companies are very excited to address. I do believe that global life sciences companies are looking at India very seriously as a contract manufacturing destination for many of these biologics. And India itself will be a very, very large and growing market for biologics. So I think I'll end by saying that innovation consists of seeing what everybody has seen and thinking what nobody has thought. And I'll leave you with that thought, because I do believe that anyone and everyone who is at least seeing what's happening in the biotech field needs to make your future right here in Karnataka. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kiran. And of course, we'll come back to you at the end of the session again for your conclusions of the whole of the entire presentations. So you please be around. Now I'll take a little bit of liberty here because Dr. P. Murali has a flight to catch, and I'll be inviting him over the others to make the next presentation on system biology. And Dr. Murali has been the managing director of Evolva, a Swiss multinational firm based on system biology research of its Indian chapter. He's also a very active member of the biotech revolution in India, being part of CII, being the president of ABLE, and of course Vision Group and many others associated organizations. So with that, I'll request Dr. Murali.
Thank you very much, Gautam. Dignitaries on the dais, Secretary ITBT and Kiran. It's always such a pleasure to speak immediately after Kiran, and I think people who have done this will know how easy or difficult it is. But in any case, I have a role which is completely charted out, and I will just go by that. There are first two pointers which I certainly want to look at. Kiran spoke more from a Karnataka point of view. I am speaking from all the other states that I am continuing to work and nurture biotechnology. And that's where my wisdom comes. And I can be very emphatic. Three things have really propelled the growth of biotech here. One is that at least there was a policy, and the policy was acted on. There was a vision group, and there were people who carried the vision of the policy through the group. And the third and the most important thing is it was followed with a very good bureaucratic setup in the form of an ITBT office. And I have to say here, Manjula ji must be probably the fourth or fifth ITBT secretary I am working with. We have been always extremely fortunate to have one excelling the other, and then the other excelling the other. So the point is, I think she is going to have a benchmark which is already set by her predecessors. And I'm sure that's something which she is going to enjoy. The only commonality between the previous two ITBT secretaries were, I think, both of them speak Telugu. So other than that, you have a fantastic thing to start. Now, let me stick to what I am here for. I just want to showcase the other opportunities that Bangalore in particular and Karnataka is able to offer, especially people who are budding entrepreneurs in the area of what I call as biomolecular engineering, which otherwise is very crudely called as synthetic biology. Now, there are several initiatives that are possible in this area, particularly because of the infrastructure that Karnataka commands. And what Kiran was also alluding to, some of the topmost premier labs are here. Nobel laureates have come to places like NCBS, and they have said that there is not very many facilities to equal this in any other part of the world. So being part of Karnataka, you must be extremely proud that we have state-of-the-art, world-class institutions catering to research and science in this part of the world. And we had IIC in the beginning, now we have NCBS, many more to follow. There is one topic I wanted to touch upon in this context, particularly I want to leave this as a message to the ITBT secretary, is that last year, with the help of Jagdish and others, we tried to conjure up a policy for synthetic biology and try to present it to the central government for funding. So somewhere down between the two areas, we were not able to find out where the link was missing in terms of funding land versus what can the Karnataka government come in with. Now that you have taken over, ma'am, would be very happy if we can continue that initiative, because that can be another world-class institution that can come up. And the reason why I am saying that world-class institution is needed is because I see 4 or 5 areas which that center can be capable of nurturing. One is that this fermentation-led industry in Karnataka has grown very well. And if you see that we need a lot of pilot studies that need to be done before you can actually translate your research into something called commercialization. So right now, those are, I wouldn't say absent, but they're not adequate enough to take it up. So you need a real powerful spending from both the central government and the state government to initiate such areas. Only then we will be able to have a proper downstream processing labs. We will be able to have proper fermentation facilities. Now, the reason why we need both of them is that if you take any sector, starting from making a small molecule for health and wellness, or if you're talking about biofuels, or if you're talking about making a molecule in the area which is connected with, let's say, a biosensor, or even if you want to look at a very sustainable way of making chemicals, chemical entities, then you need to have biomolecular engineering beautifully dovetailed with the downstream processing and the fermentation facility. So Karnataka needs to get this biomolecular engineering, I would say the institute, ASAP, because that will foster quite a lot of the current work, especially that of the startups, to actually be housed there and to be taken forward. And there is one more reason for saying this, is that I think Bangalore is one of the fortunate sisters which has got so many other sisters outside, because I have been part of the sister initiatives of both Boston as well as with San Francisco, as well as with the delegation that came in from England. And of course, many more which Kiran would have actually gone. So we have the maximum amount of sisters. So which means we need to capitalize on these sister cluster relationships to build a bridge between the two frontier areas, so that people who are able to start research in Bangalore will be able to take it up to the next stage. So I think that's also a very key factor here. The last part which I wanted to leave as a thought to people who are actually planning to invest and start some work done here is that fortunately we are among the best biodiversity invested by God or by nature in the world, and we are almost commanding between 6 and 8% of the diversity depending on how you look at it. Now this means that there is an enormous amount of a wealth of genetic information that is available in India, which can be used for a number of things, including disease mitigation, finding new molecules, sustainable way of looking at alternatives to chemical engineering and chemical type of synthesis and so on. The key to all this is how can we responsibly mine that information which is available in the biodiversity area in India. And we need lots and lots of researchers to start mining those areas to come up with more and more molecules. As you know, a lot of times pharmaceutical industry gets fatigued with a lot of the robotics that are going on, a lot of the screening mechanisms that are going on. It becomes very repetitive and there is nothing which comes out very novel. But biomolecular engineering is one such area which can beat that monotony, create a contribution and move the, I would say the next set of innovative molecules can come from this area because of the fatigue that has been there for screening molecules that can be wished away. So I would like to conclude by saying that the opportunities in newer areas like biomolecular engineering and synthetic biology for a number of applications are open in an area like Bangalore. And with if institutes, if they come up, like the one I have been mentioning to the ITBT secretary, and the initiatives that are taken up by the startups, if they really mushroom, I have a feeling that there is a very, very bright future for Karnataka. Already, I am of the opinion that this is the state which leads in biotech. And I think there is going to be a big separation between the #1 state and the #2 state in the years to come, which I think goes great to the leadership of the state here and the secretaries who have tirelessly worked here. I would like to thank all the people for the patient hearing, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Have a good meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Murli. We, the people from Bangalore and Karnataka, will sincerely hope whenever the Synthetic Biology Institute comes up, you will be somewhere at the helm of it, leaving your other states. with that, I will now like to invite Dr. K.K. Narayanan. Now, Dr. K.K. Narayanan, those of you would like to know is about metahelix. The metahelix is, as far as I understand, is probably the first agri-biotech company that is based on the recombinant DNA research in India, and it is established in Bangalore maybe a little more than a decade ago. So, and Dr. Narayanan has been with the company from the very beginning, and is a part of the Tata organization right now, Metahelix. And Dr. Narayanan, apart from being at the helm of Metahelix, has also been into the Karnataka Vision Group and various branches of CII, the biotech industry, as well as also with the ABLE. He was the past president and the executive committee members for many years of the ABLE and has been a leading voice of Agri-biotech in India. Dr. K.K. Narayan.
Thank you, Gautam, and good afternoon, friends. The Secretary talked about the various initiatives of the government of Karnataka in supporting the biotech sector. Kiran very elegantly talked about the advantages that Karnataka and Bangalore offers for this sector, setting up industry, for innovation in this sector. And she also told about how the academia, the private sector, and the government work in concert to actually leverage these advantages. Murali began by giving an outside-in view of the sector in Karnataka and specifically went on to talk about leading agri-technology companies in the country, whether you look at it in terms of the market share for some of our products and those segments, in terms of number of innovative products that we have brought out into the market. We are today part of one of the largest business houses in the country, the Tata Group. So Metahelix is today a Tata enterprise. So what I am going to share with you in the next few minutes is the experience of someone who has been there, who has done it, traveled the journey from a mere startup to where we are today. Now, you all know that Bangalore is known the world over as an IT hub. That's because in the last couple of decades, I think a lot of things have happened in the IT sector. But sometimes, if you look at Bangalore through that prism, you tend to overlook some of the importance of certain other sectors. And I want here to specifically talk about the agriculture sector, food and agriculture sector. You know, agriculture is very important for India, and it's all the more important for a state like Karnataka. Let me share some few facts with you. 65% of the total geographical area of the state is arable land. That means it can be cultivated. India, compared to other countries in the world, has got about 55% of its geographical area as arable land, which is pretty high, but Bangalore beats that average of India. It has got 65%. That means we have about 12.5 million hectares of arable land, and more importantly, we have diverse agroclimatic conditions, like we have plains, we have hills, we have cooler climes, we have hot areas. So you have a diversity of crops that's grown in the state, from rice in the plains to coffee up there in the hills, some of the hills of the Western Ghats. Now, crop husbandry contributes about 16 to 17% of the total GDP of the state. And out of this, now this is notable, about 40% of the total contribution from crop husbandry comes from horticultural crops. Why I stress this is because here is a huge opportunity for value addition and value creation. Now you will realize the importance of this when I also say that almost more than 50% of all working people in this state are engaged in agriculture. And so here is an opportunity to build the sector and also make sure that the lives of these people are also improved. So along with economic growth, you are also bringing in, both these areas have not really leveraged technology to its full potential.
What was costing, thousands of dollars, at one time maybe even $1 million, today is hundreds of dollars, and we think we can bring it down to $100. with this, naturally, integration is likely to happen with the Ayurveda as well as genomics to find the actual drug discovery. And it is quite possible we have significant number of drugs in our own backyard while we are looking for drugs from abroad. So these are some of the huge opportunities as we see it happen. And the one other point which has been overlooked for a long time, my own personal views, we have given a lot of importance to IT. We talk about IT technology. India is home of Infosys, Wipro. But what we forget is India is also becoming a huge place for medical destination. Today we have, when we look at our own HCG group of hospital in Bangalore, we have built several towers for international patients, and the growth is happening rapidly, where people come from not only emerging markets, but surprisingly from developed world they come. For various reasons, not only for high technology, cost, but the most important thing they have found is based on the papers we have published and the groups like Harvard Business School studying us, showing that our outcomes are equal to best of centers. Why not? Why not come here and take the same treatment where the outcomes are the same? So one of the most important things we have done in quality of care is to show very clearly that diseases such as cancer or cardiology or outcomes are equal to the best of centers globally. When this happens, I think this opens a major door for further research and development in medical destination. So this is an area where we believe there is huge growth can happen, and I'm sure Karnataka will support this as we go forward in areas such as cardiology, oncology, dentistry, pediatric surgery, and orthopedics. And large investment have already happened in Karnataka, and as I said, we have become already global leaders in certain fields like cardiology and oncology. And technologically we have advanced, and one of the things we have done is, innovative way, India is the cheapest healthcare provider in the world without compromising on the outcome or quality. And that has been, in particularly countries of South America, it has become the talk, saying how are these people doing when we are struggling with the cost versus outcome. And I think sometimes, we may not recognize in India itself is happening, but it's outsiders who first recognize what is happening in India. Revolution is happening. Apart from this, we all know what is happening in the pharma, generic business. Great growths are happening, and the ease of doing business, availability of talent pool. One of the surprising things we have seen in our own field, both in terms of actual doctors, PhDs, technologies coming from healthcare related, mass movement is taking from abroad, from England and US, which is creating a huge talent pool for us. That is one of the questions a lot of people, what is your talent pool? And with this, we're able to establish skill training programs for a sustainable model. So this has been one of the additions, and which has again created a huge place for us to grow and create this as a huge medical establishment. Like when I look at Houston or other places in the world, medical, meccas, and I think we have an opportunity here in Bangalore and Karnataka to establish that and do this with the support we have from the state government. Knowledge, technology, infrastructure, expertise, all come together and make this possible. Thank you very much for having given some time.
Thank you, Dr. Ajay Kumar, for your very, very elucidating talk and taking into a different trajectory now to the practical healthcare, which is so important for us. Now, for our next speaker, I'd like to invite Professor Ramakrishnan, and this is again on something which is today the topic that is very close to everybody's heart, where we talk about the biofuel and the sustaining energy. As you all know, it has been said that the Stone Age didn't get over because people ran out of stone. The Stone Age got over because other discoveries took place, which became much more superior to the stones. So similarly, the people who think that biotechnology will help to go into the renewable energies simply because petroleum will be over one day, fossil fuel. That's not the case. It will be even better for the carbon footprint, from the ecosystem, from many others. Professor Ramakrishnan is involved with a lot of stuff. He's also an advisor to the central government ministry and have been involved with many of the organizations involved with the research and propagation of the idea of sustaining energies. So with that, Professor Ramakrishnan.
Good afternoon to all of you, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. All the speakers have really talked about the kind of ecosystem that exists in Karnataka. I would like to share with you all some of the initiatives that were taken by the state of Karnataka in the area of bioenergy and the kind of ecosystem that is there in the country today and what kind of opportunities that are there for investing in Karnataka in the bioenergy sector. One would be surprised to know that it was the first state to produce transport grade ethanol way back in 1940s during the Second World War, when the country was talking about blended fuel. You know, we started the blended fuel program way back in 1944-45, where we started it in Mumbai, with all the petrol run vehicles were run with 20% ethanol that was blended, and all the last drop of ethanol was supplied from Karnataka. This was way back in 1944-45. And when we talk about biomass to energy, the world's first low-density biomass-based power generating station was set up in Malvalli. It was a 6.5 megawatt power station. We have, I think, little over 150 megawatts of such installed base right now in Karnataka. When we talk about technologies such as biomethanation, biogasification, I think Karnataka again has been a pioneer. The research which commenced almost about 40-45 years ago in Indian Institute of Science, we have fairly well developed and commercialized technologies that came from Karnataka. Once again, you know, we talk about bioenergy from bio oil, from non-edible oils to power generation. Again, Karnataka was the first state. The Dandeli ferroalloys in Karnataka ran a 1 megawatt unit for more than 4 or 5 years, making use of the Pongemia oil for power generation. And the kind of cost saving that they were able to achieve was equivalent to the salary bill that they had. Karnataka state has been the first state in the country to come up with a biofuel policy in 2008. Karnataka state was the first state to constitute a task force on biofuel, like you have a vision group on biotechnology. On biofuels, Karnataka was the first state to create a task force. Based on the recommendations of the task force, Karnataka also created certain institutional mechanisms. We have the Karnataka State Biofuel Development Board. And the policy that the Karnataka state evolved on the biofuel has become a landmark policy, and the Government of India policy, they have taken pages and pages out of the Karnataka policy when the national policy was developed. Now, I talked about the kind of ecosystem that is being developed in the country. The bioenergy program in this country is, though it is quite old, it's not really kind of garnering the kind of speed that it should have. In the last couple of years, we see that a lot of initiatives have been taken by Government of India. In the new Renewable Energy Act, with a lot of focus on bioenergy, is ready to be placed before the Parliament. When we talk about bioenergy, what becomes very important is the availability of various different types of feedstock, which is essentially biomass. Being an agrarian society, we do grow varieties of different food crops, and we also generate tremendous amount of biomass. One of the study taken up by Indian Institute of Science and Department of Science and Technology shows that we burn something like 350 to 400 million tons of, to do about 20% blending by 2022. Again, with regard to biodiesel, the program was not started at all in the country. We started in 2015 August. We started in 18 cities. Now it has been spread to about 6 states. And now there is a tender that has been floated for 1,450 million liters of biodiesel. And the program will be extended to about 10 states, and probably in about 2 years' time, we will have 5% of biodiesel blended in ethanol all over the country. Karnataka again has been a pioneer, as I said, in this area. A few things that have been done, I did mention about the Karnataka State Biofuel Development Board. Karnataka has created something like 33 information and demonstration centers across the state, where a lot of information dissemination takes place, demonstration of various technologies. A lot of research, more than 250 research have been undertaken, and they are at various stages in these 33 centers, which are operating from all the agricultural universities, engineering colleges. Created 3 biofuel parks in Hassan, Dharwad and Raichur, managed by the 3 agricultural university. KSRTC has done some pioneering work in this field. 20% of biodiesel blending pilot has been started by them. At the global level, the world's first experiment of blending ethanol in diesel has been undertaken very successfully by Karnataka State Road Transport Corporation. So, a whole lot of such activities have been undertaken. Now, the kind of investment opportunities that we have in this sector, we are looking at second generation ethanol, converting the biomass into ethanol through lignocellulosic conversion. We are also looking at some of the futuristic technology like methanol economy, where very easily the biomass can be converted into methane and methanol, looking at methanol and DME as the future fuel for transport sector, as a feedstock for the chemical industry, also looking at power generation through fuel cells. So multiple such opportunities that exist, and the kind of atmosphere that is required for an investment to be made in this sector is being looked into at this point of time. And when we talk about the biofuels, we have to look at the entire value chain. In the first and the foremost, we have certain amount of biomass and the feedstock that is available in the country. If you are talking about much larger scales, then we have to really think in terms of generating more feedstock. If you look at the supply chain, we have to think in terms of aggregation of the biomass, processing of the biomass depots to be created. And then again, when we talk about processing these things for recovering energy, we require a host of technologies. So there are large opportunities for investment in this sector. And as far as Karnataka is concerned, I did say earlier, a lot of initiatives have already been taken. 30 million TBOs have been planted, with some 3 lakh farmers being involved in this whole program. Already 135,000 hectares of land has been brought under cultivation of tree-based oilseeds. We already have 1 million ton of non-edible oilseeds available in, which is traded already in Karnataka. So we have that right kind of atmosphere for investment into the biofuel and the bioenergy sector in this country, in Karnataka specifically. And we have huge opportunities. For example, when we talk about municipal solid waste to energy, one of the world's leading initiative has been taken here in Karnataka, converting municipal solid waste into direct drop-in fuels. The first pilot plant is going to become operational in about a year's time, right here in Bangalore. And the kind of R&D that was required for that has been done right here in Bangalore. So the biofuel sector is still in its infancy compared to the other sectors that we are talking about. And we have its own challenges, but I think every challenge is an opportunity. And a whole lot of investment opportunities exist. And I thank all the organizers for having provided me this opportunity to share my views. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Dr. Professor Ramakrishna, because this is definitely a very interesting talk. Now I'd like to invite the last speaker of the session, Dr. Dipannita Chatterjee, the Biotech Park Lady of India. And Dipannita has been created by setting up one of India's most successful biotech park in Hyderabad, and which has been, we are just getting a little bit of it in Bangalore. We'd like to see it more from her. I'd like to hear from her on that also. Thank you.
So, thank you, Gautam, and thanks for giving me this opportunity. I'll just sum up. We have probably, so is that okay? Okay. So you must have seen the 16th January announcement of our startup policy, and in the startup policy, out of the 40 pages, 12 pages are on incubators. Has direct reference to incubators. So I feel very proud standing here today. Out of the 16 years I've spent in the science parks and incubators community, this is the first time probably that incubators and science parks are getting so much importance in developing the economy. Out of the 101 biotech in all incubators that will be developed in the next 5 years, there are 50 incubators that will be biotech incubators. I'm very surprised. How is that going to happen? And if Karnataka has a big role to play there, we'll all be interested in doing our bit. And there are 150 tinkering labs that have been announced. I do not know whether the biotech incubators fall within the tinkering labs or not, but that is something we need to see. The one other thing, because I know we are running short of time, I'll mention that in the startup policy, there's a definition of startups. For the first time, we have defined what a startup is. And there, it is mentioned that they have to be innovative. They have to have an IP. And who's going to vet that? Who's going to say, yes, they're innovative? If you're in an incubator, they are considered innovative. That itself says that incubators has now a real role to play in our economy. One difference between the biotech policy of the Karnataka government and the central government is that when you define a startup, you are saying all startups would be 4 years. First 4 years, it will be considered for all support for startup, except for a biotech startup, which is for 7 years. At the central government level, there's no differentiation, everything is for 5 years. So I think we really need to see whether all other startups from all other states would come to Karnataka in the last 2 years to avail the facility here. So, and I must say that though it's mentioned I'm the CEO of IKP Hyderabad, yes, I'm the CEO, I'm the chairman and CEO of IKP Hyderabad, but we have a facility in Bangalore. I'm very proud to say Vikraman is the CEO of the facility. Vikraman, and it's called IKP Eden, IKP Engineering, oh my God, how do I forget that? Engineering, Design and Entrepreneurship Network, and it's in Koramangala. All of you are invited for that. And any other questions, I'd love to answer either here or through email. Thank you.
That's true. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all our speakers and all our distinguished audiences for this wonderful session. I also like to thank Honorable Minister Shri S.R. Patilji and also Principal Secretary Ms. Manjula for their kind support for this organization. I also like to thank Tanushree Debbama, MD Cabits, Dr. Jagdish, Dr. Jitendra Kumar, and the members of the Cabits family who worked untiringly to make it a success. Thank you all so much. So the delegation kits are given from the other gate. So please go from the rear gate to collect the delegation kits. Thank you so much.
See that?
Chairs and all properly?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We're going to start the country seminar, and I'm surrounded by Mr. Maheshwar Rauf, Managing Director of Karnataka Power Corporation. Mr. Kugar, no need to introduce, he's the Chief of Economic Service of the Embassy, and Mr. Fornage, Director of AFD, Agence Française de Développement, is the financial arm of French government for sustainable projects in the world. So how should we start? Yes, a few items and then I will give it. Okay, so the topics that we suggested to address is urban development, smart cities and renewable energy. Why this subject? Because it's part of the overall agenda which was set up during our President's visit with the Prime Minister, and it was very high on the agenda, and because both are connected with the climate change challenge that we have decided to take up in partnership between France and India. Of course, we are not starting from scratch, and in the renewable sector, for example, France is already has a very significant footprint and experience in the field of solar sector. 10% of the installed capacity in India is managed by French companies which won auctions, and more is to come. And we have committed, French companies have committed to realize 10% of the 100 gigawatts that the Prime Minister has set as an objective. So we are hopeful that this can be also deployed in Karnataka. Of course, in this domain we have also nuclear energy, big project in Maharashtra, 10,000 megawatts, but I don't think there is such plans in Karnataka, so we're going to focus on solar and wind. Urban development and smart cities, many of you are aware that following the Prime Minister's visit to France in April, it was decided that France and India would partner on 3 cities. That is Chandigarh, where our President started its trip to India, Nagpur, Maharashtra, and Pondicherry near Chennai. There is no city in Karnataka, but the fact is that we have already engaged with a number of cities across Karnataka, namely Bangalore itself with water and metro, of course Mysore as well. We have some plans, so in the bus, rapid transport by bus, and other cities. So we have already significant engagement, and as far as the metro of Bangalore is concerned, AFD has contributed to the financing up to 310 million euros. So this engagement is there, and we have a pretty good response, and we intend to continue to work hard so that we can contribute to sound, sustainable urban development in India, bearing in mind, and that was the message we received from the Prime Minister, and we expect several hundred of millions of people to move from the countryside to the cities in the near future, or in the decades to come, let's say. And this is a very, very big challenge which has to be addressed both in terms of infrastructures, in terms of services, and in terms of energy. And this, I think that's what I suggest we discuss with a particular focus on Karnataka, indeed. Thank you very much.
Good evening, His Excellency Mr. Francois Richier, Ambassador of France to India, Mr. Jean-René Cougat, Head of the Regional Economic Service for the Embassy, Nicolas Fornage, all members of the delegation. First of all, I would just like to really welcome the huge delegation that you have really come forward and taken part in this flagship event of Karnataka, that's the Invest Karnataka Summit. I wanted to start off with giving a pitch on Karnataka, but like I was discussing with Jean, most of you are already here, so I cannot talk much about what are the opportunities. However, I'll talk a little bit about them later on. And most of you, I think a few of you I've already met before in my, over the last couple of years. We just like to think that given the huge opportunities created over the last 1 year with the high-level meeting of both our Prime Minister and the President of France, and the discussions also, the French President had come for the Republic Day ceremony. I think there's been a huge stimulus and fillip given to the economic relations. And given the fact that close to more than 1,000 companies are in India, and I think Karnataka itself is home to more than 15% of the companies located in India. There is good presence both in the R&D space, in the aerospace, in defense sector, some of them in the pharma sector. So we hope that this delegation would like to see coming and having a look at Bangalore. We hope that more of you are going to come and set up base in Bangalore. Of course, in Karnataka itself, Veolia itself has has worked in the water sector. So I think there is a session on water. A couple of cities from Karnataka are also been identified as smart cities. We also think that there is huge potential more in the R&D space, given the bigger cluster happening in the R&D sector across Bangalore. I think that itself will attract more talent, and this kind of talent would be something which will be beneficial for more companies looking at setting up their R&D base. And I think that this whole delegation in their visit would definitely see huge opportunities in the smart cities, in energy efficiency, or in the clean energy space, which is really developing and growing at a huge, in a big manner in the country. So without taking too much time, I would just again welcome the delegation. I hope you have a good set of meetings. I hope there are going to be more partnerships developed, and you keep coming more often to Bangalore. Thank you very much, and I request you to take it forward.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Jean-René, if you want to present the...
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. So we have 1 hour and 20 minutes for this French country seminar, and we have divided this 1 hour and 20 minutes in 5 different sessions. The first one is going to be on energy efficiency and renewable energy. Then we will have the urban transport, followed by urban planning, infrastructure and design. Then communication and urban security, and last one will be on waste and water management. So for the first session, energy efficiency and renewable energy, I call on the stage, 3 speakers. The first one is being Mr. Bioenergy from Engie. Where is Mr. Bioenergy, please?
Good afternoon or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And at the outset, very happy to be a part of Karnataka Invest session here. Let me give a quick introduction about this company, Engie, which I represent. This was formerly called as GDF Suisse, Gas de France Suisse. We are a global energy player with interests primarily in power, gas, and energy services. We are a Fortune 500 company. We are 74th in the press list of Fortune 500 companies with a turnover of $75 billion, which is 5 lakh crores. So we are a very large company. 3 times in terms of, to give a sense of what the size of this company is, we are 3 times the size of NTPC with 2 GAILs added to it and a couple of more companies here. So in India, we have been there for some time. We have investment in Petronet LNG. This is a LNG terminal in Dahej. We have a 10% equity there. We are the former shareholders and the technology providers for this company. This is a 10 million ton terminal. We are expanding. There is a new terminal which has come up in Kochi as well. We have investments. We have investments in the technical consulting business as well. We are owners of Tractable Engineering, which is a technical consulting company. We have 600 people working in India doing primarily hydro and gas, city gas networks. We own a coal-based asset in Nellore, a 1,000 megawatt plant called Meenakshi Power. And this is the only fossil fuel-based plant we have here. We own a solar company called Solar Direct. This is one of the large solar companies now in India. We won the competitive bid at 435, which has set a new benchmark for the country on solar tariffs. And this company plans to expand its overall portfolio from 200 megawatts to 2,000 megawatts in the next 2 to 3 years. So we have large plans in solar field. We are also exploring business opportunities in the wind side. We, in fact, are interested in Karnataka as well. We are looking at a portfolio to start with of 50 to 100 megawatts of feed-in tariff-based wind assets here. There are certain issues which maybe we'll discuss sometimes with you, Mr. Rao. We also have, again, on the gas side, we have a collaboration with Shell and GAIL, and we are doing a floating storage regasification unit, FSRU, in Kakinada. So this is again a very large investment we have. In hydrospace, we are planning to look at smaller projects, maybe 100 to 300 megawatt projects with minimum on construction risk. So we are looking at projects which are just close to the COD at the end of the construction period. We obviously are looking at expanding the whole portfolio here. Our strategy has been to look at decarbonization, decentralization, and digitization. These are the three themes on which the company is now working. We are moving away from fossil fuel-based technologies into these three fields, and we think that there is a lot of scope to do this kind of work in India. We are also interested in the waste-to-energy space, maybe smaller plants, 10 to 12 megawatt plants to handle the waste of the cities. This needs to be looked at a slightly different perspective, not as a company which is making energy, but actually using up the waste. So this is pretty much what our company is doing, and we plan to grow our portfolio in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Any question to Mr. Banerjee before I leave the floor to... Okay, so then I'll give the floor to Mr. Chakraborty from Schneider Electric. Schneider Electric is actually probably the #1 French company in India in terms of stock of investment. So the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Devashish from Schneider Electric. Bear with me for a minute. Just running the presentation. Yeah, thanks. So I'm here today to talk about briefly about what Schneider Electric does in the area of energy, how we have embraced the new era of energy, leveraging energy efficiency. But before that, let me quickly give you a quick brief on our identity, our mission, and our vision. So our expertise in energy management and automation is there for quite many years, and that gives us, the global specialist. That gives us our identity. We are, the mission that we have here today is that we are a technology supplier, and our job is that whatever we do at Schneider is to ensure that life is on for everyone, everywhere, at every moment. Schneider is present in more than 100 countries, and in these 100 countries there are many people who do not have access to energy. We believe that's a fundamental right, and so the vision which we drive is we see a world where we all can achieve more by making by using less of our common planet. This gives a quick glimpse of the broad range of offers that we bring for our customers, starting from offers which starts from the plant to the plug, plant where the energy is, starts getting distributed, to the plug where we start using it. I'm not going to go deeper into each of these offers, but say very briefly that we are having offers in the medium voltage, in low voltage, power and cooling solutions in data centers, building automation solutions, industrial automation, solar inverters, and the entire range of luminous retail products. The rapid pace of urbanization that we are seeing, coupled with the digitization, the changing demographic, and industrialization, has ensured that energy consumption, we are not seeing any signs of deceleration of energy consumption. At this rate, I think we will be needing, I read it somewhere, we will be needing close to 600 megawatt of power plants every week for the next 15 to 20 years. This is definitely not a very sustainable way of looking at things. So let's look at this energy equation which we all are familiar with. So the total amount of power which we as a country produce is close to around 275 gigawatt. And by 2030, in the next 14 years, we need around 4 times of that power to be generated. At the same time, we also have to ensure that we cut our carbon emissions by half so that we do not damage the planet that we occupy. So I think it's a tough challenge for all of us, because the demand for energy is only going to increase, and this is not going to sustain in the manner in which we are looking at it. So, at Schneider we want energy for all, but at the same time we also want a cool planet. So how do we deal with it? Can we look at energy efficiency to drive this? Can we see that, okay, if we use energy efficiency as a lever to drive our growth, can we see that we can do away with lesser number of power plants to achieve the same or more, create more energy? I think energy efficiency can be looked as a resource and also as a first fuel for a growing economy. Energy efficiency is a free lunch, and not just a free lunch, but a free lunch which you get paid to eat if it is deployed in the right manner. I'll quickly, give a glimpse of the solutions that we offer, the depth of solutions that we offer in our smart city portfolio. Not going to go deeper into these verticals because of paucity of time, but only going to say that all these solutions provide an intelligent, connected, and digitized physical infrastructure with a lot of collaborations with the city planners and developers, which helps in the making of a sustainable city. I would like to end here by saying that all these infrastructure should ensure that the cities that we live in become more efficient, sustainable, and livable. It should attract the citizens to move into. At the same time, while I talk about energy efficiency, I cannot miss talking about energy per se. That energy, we all know, is not visible, right? So if we want to make the best use of energy efficiency, if we want to ensure that we manage our energy, we should try to make energy visible. Schneider Electric has a lot of software solutions to help our customers make energy, the energy use visible, meaningful, measurable, and actionable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chakraborty. Any question to the speaker? If not, we come to the third speaker of the first session, Mr. Ghosh from Socomec.
Good evening. Good evening to Mr. Rao and His Excellency and our delegates as well as all the guests out here.
Okay, I am representing Socomec. Socomec is an independent manufacturing company based out of France. It's based out of Benfield near Strasbourg. We are into core, we are independent manufacturing organizations. Our core business is availability, control and safety of low voltage electrical networks with focus on power performance for our customers. We are primarily into energy efficiency products. We are primarily into the critical power products, which is the high efficient UPS. We are into power control and safety, which is of load break switches and PV isolator switches, as well as we are into energy metering and all. When talking on the renewable part, the renewable energy part, definitely we have our presence more into the solar. We are working with a lot of companies where our presence is, we are not directly into the inverters or into the PV panels or rating. We are mostly present into the PV isolator switches, the load break switches and the PV isolator switches, which are like the inside array box switches, combiner box switches and all. When we are talking about the projects, we have a presence of almost 30% on all the big grid connected solutions, and we have some good amount of installations in Karnataka also. And definitely we look forward to align with the system integrators here in Karnataka, and we'll take it forward with them for the opportunities which are there. Okay. Anyone, any questions? Any questions? Yeah. Oh, sorry. So that's what I just wanted to introduce the organization and what we are doing in Karnataka. I thought that is something which I can share with you. So any specific questions, please let me know, or we can discuss it out. Okay, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. So with this, we conclude the first session, and we go to the urban transport. Yes, we have 4 speakers for the urban transport. The first one is Alstom. Alstom, Mr. Bora. Alstom actually has just announced a very good news. They have signed a contract with the Indian Railway to build a plant to manufacture locomotive in Bihar. I'm sure he's going to tell us more about it.
Good evening, everybody. So, meanwhile, they put up the setup. As you said, we just won the contract for supplying the locomotives, electric locomotives for Indian Railways, which is 3.3 billion euros. Let me quickly take you through the So we are working on the railway sector, railway transport sector, and we cover the full range of products, starting from the trams, metro trains, locomotives, semi-high-speed, very high-speed trains. We are divided into 4 verticals. We are organized in 4 verticals. So one vertical is for the manufacturing of trains. Second, what we call as the services, where we maintain the trains. Another one is the signaling, which is the automation of railway network. And the last one is the systems, where we either take the turnkey contracts or we do the work for electrification or track work. So our presence in India, today we have, so in Bangalore we have our biggest setup. We have an engineering center in Bangalore, where we have around 1,200 engineers working on the metro and mainline railways for India as well as the global projects. We have 2 factories in India. One is very close to Chennai, where we manufacture the trains. Another one is in Coimbatore, where we manufacture the assemblies which are used in the trains. In addition, we have multiple projects in India. So, to quickly tell you, today we are associated with, in South, with Kochi Metro, Bangalore Metro and Chennai Metro. We are supplying railways rolling stock to Chennai Metro as well as Kochi Metro as well as Lucknow Metro. We are supplying signaling automation system for Bangalore, Jaipur and Delhi Metro. And in addition, we have a contract with a dedicated freight corridor for supplying the power supply and signaling system. And as I said, in the month of November, we signed a contract for supplying the electric locomotive for Indian Railways. Especially keeping in mind the urban revolution which is happening, now every city needs a metro. Alstom has come up with a specific solution to address the quick deployment of metro for cities like India. It's a solution which is quick in construction, easy to insert in the cities, and it gives an improved life cycle. So once we have a land, we think we can provide the complete metro solution in 4 years' time. And I'm going to present the same tomorrow in morning session. So more details, if you like to have more details, tomorrow morning in my session, 9 o'clock on the urban infrastructure, I'll be presenting the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bora. Any question? So, I call now Aegis. Oh, sorry. So, just 1 second. We have a mic coming.
Good evening. This is Dr. Satyanarayan from the wellness industry. Especially, not only in Karnataka, anywhere in India, rural transportation is very poor. In a bus where the capacity is 35, 70 to 80 people will travel. So any plans to invest in a rural transport?
So maybe Alstom as such deals with the railway transport business. So what I can share with you today is metro I have shared with you, and I see that there are many initiatives being taken by Indian Railways nowadays. So wherever there is an opportunity, we are partnering with railways and participating in the tenders or even the discussions, studies, wherever it is. But for bus transport, I think maybe I'm not the right person to answer for that. Yeah. Okay?
Any other questions? So, Mr. Koshi, please, the floor is yours. Company is Aegis, very active in India, very active in Karnataka too.
A very good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon, sir. Aegis is a company based from France, from a place very near Paris. We are present in more than 100 countries. We essentially work in the space of infrastructure design, project management, supervision, third-party quality assurance, absolutely in everything in transportation, water, aerospace, ports, seaports, everything. Today, I come here to speak on urban transportation. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. You are aware that we have been in the domain of designing and developing trunk infrastructure for more than 50 years. We have been in India for exactly 20 years. Today, I share with you our work in India in the domain of urban transport. Most Indian cities presently face a tremendous traffic congestion issue. As one of the most pressing problems, the only solution we have found is road widening, which actually only caters to accommodate more and more automobiles. Is that the solution? May not be. This only leads to more and more congestion. In contrast, the existing modal split in our cities indicate that approximately, this particular slide is worth seeing, sir, approximately 60% of the trips are undertaken through public transport by the people in India, and approximately 30% of the trips are taken by walk. The car constitutes only 6% of the total trips that are generated. And all our efforts of transport planning is indeed geared up to facilitate automobiles. Are we getting something wrong here? It is relevant to note Gustavo Petro here. It's a beautiful statement that he made. A developed country is not a place where the poor have cars, it's where the rich use public transportation. We at Aegis cater exactly to this paradigm. We help ease our mobility for people in cities providing multiple modes of transit, particularly public transit. Individuals have the freedom to choose the mode of transport which is most convenient to them. We offer end-to-end services in the domain of metro rail services, from design, project management, construction supervision, and operation and maintenance. We are the world's #1 in light rail transport systems, which are very commonly used. If you remember the old time, the trams were there. The light rail transport system is a far more efficient way of that. Could be very useful in India. The Bhopal Bus Rapid Transport Network, BRT, were designed by Aegis. Further, we are also assigned the PMC for the project. Integration of land use and transportation forms the spine of our work as well, which means the places where people embark or disembark from public transport, that particular land is developed so that some commercial activities which are very relevant to them can be developed in that place. Transit-oriented development forms the core paradigm, whether it is planning at the regional scale, such as in perspective plan for the Bangalore-Mumbai Economic Corridor region, or for the development of Greater Mumbai. We developed the master plan for Greater Bombay for 2014-2034, the 20-year development plan Aegis has prepared from Bangalore. Apart from that, in Bangalore we also have a GIS, geospatial engineering capability. More than 100 people work there. We have more than 95% of our clients from other parts of the world. The multimodal integration project for 9 metro stations in Chennai, where we have played the role of general consultant to CMRL, is another very good example of the manifestation of TOD principles at the scale of implementation here. Pedestrian networks, newly planned, integrate with design of shaded walkways, multi-level car parking systems, structures, and commercial use in proximity of stations for asset creation. Similarly, Aegis offers services that contribute to sustainable development in all sectors of infrastructure, be it water, roads and highways, urban development, solid waste management. We thank our well-wishers for having supported us through the 20 long years presence in India and hope to continue this growth in decades to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kochi. Any question before we give the floor to Lumiplan? So, say David, floor is yours. Lumiplan is a company, an SME based in Bangalore and spreading all over India from Karnataka.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to have a presentation after Aegis because we are targeting the same goal, attracting more citizens in the public transport of India. So Lumiplan is a company specialized in dynamic information and especially in public transports, from the planning, the micro-planning to the real-time monitoring and the passenger information system. So we are present all over the world, and we have set up our company in India some 6 years ago, and we started with the project in Mysore. That was supported by the French government, and we have demonstrated working with KSR for the bus system of Mysore, that using our solution, we could save more than 10% of the cost of the operation for the bus system, coming from a manual kind of planning of the bus system to a scientific one. And we have also showed the benefit for the passengers, for the citizens of Mysore. So that was a great, and it was for the first time in India that the bus operator was using a software to plan the services and to allocate the vehicle and the crew to the services. Before it was manual. So of course that's why we could show this kind of savings and this kind of enhancement of the services. So then thanks to this demonstration, we have been highlighted by the central government of India, and we have been referenced by them. So now we can provide our solution and services pan-India to all those public transport organizations. And we have even proposed a pay-for-profit kind of model to allow those organizations who can struggle financially to go with us. So that's what I wanted to tell about Lumi Plan. We are settled in Bangalore, and we hope to grow in India very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So last workshop for this session is Mr. Bergoen from Sistra, consultant, well known in India. It's just acquired a company in
Good evening,
Gujarat.
everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to participate to this event on behalf of Sistra. Sistra is a world leader in the engineering of public transport projects. We have 60 years of experience in delivering railway and urban transportation projects. We are actually the engineering arm of two major French public transit companies, RATP, which is the Paris Metro Authority, and SNCF, the French Railways. Sistra Group employs 5,000 people worldwide, and we are present in 78 countries. We offer complete engineering services throughout the life cycle of projects, from urban planning and transport planning, architectural design, civil engineering, system design, system integration, project management, construction supervision, as well as testing and commissioning and assistance to maintenance and operation. Our experience covers all modes of transportation system, from BRT to light rail transit, metro, suburban rail, as well as conventional and high-speed railway. Some of our flagship projects, Dubai Metro, Sistra has been the project management consultant for the red and green lines of Dubai Metro, which is the longest fully automatic project in the world. Mecca Metro, for which we have been the designer of the infrastructure, and this is the metro project with the highest capacity. And I would just name also Shanghai Metro, one of the largest metro network in the world, for which Sistra has delivered viaduct and station design for a number of lines. Sistra has a large presence in India. We have been here for 20 years with two subsidiaries, Sistra India based in Delhi and SAI based in Ahmedabad. We employ 1,000 people in India, and we have offices in addition to Delhi and Ahmedabad in Bangalore, Chennai and Mumbai. For the last 20 years, Sistra has been involved in the construction of metro projects in 8 cities in India, either as design consultant, general consultant, or project management consultant. We are a key engineering partner of DMRC, and we have been associated to all phases of the development of Delhi Metro. We are designer of Lucknow Metro and Chennai Metro Phase 2, and we are also the leading consultant that has been selected for the general consultancy of Ahmedabad Metro. Sistra is very much present in Bangalore as well. We have been associated to Bangalore Metro since the beginning of the project. We are the general consultant for Phase 1, and we are design consultant on the Phase 2. We are currently designing the viaduct and station of Reach 5 that will take the metro to Electronic City. Our engineers in Sistra have a passion for performance and innovation. This is how we have introduced some very innovative technical solutions to India, such as a U-shaped viaduct. U-shaped is a design concept for metro viaducts that substantially optimize the structure and allow to speed up the construction time by up to 30%. This concept has already been introduced in Delhi, Mumbai, and Lucknow. Building on our global expertise to develop local solutions is very much at the heart of our engineering approach, and we aim to deliver technical solutions that best suit to the requirement of our local customer. In this spirit, Sistra has recently organized an innovation workshop in Delhi on the topic of smart metro station. Why? Because we believe that smart cities in India will require smart stations. This workshop was attended by officials from a lot of metro companies in India. and all the experts who have participated to this event have found it quite successful. We are very proud to contribute to the development of transport infrastructure in India, and we are looking forward to be associated to upcoming projects in Karnataka and India. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Bergoen. So after the energy efficiency and the urban transport, we are coming now to the third part of our seminar, urban planning, infrastructure and design. Then we'll have two presentations for that session from two world leaders in their domain and two companies well established in India. Dr. Chaudhary for Dassault System, if you please.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me first share with you our solution for urban planning. We offer our urban planning solution for cities which are existing cities, so you can convert an existing city into a smart city. We also offer our solution when you want to build a satellite city. And the third being, if you want to build an absolutely new greenfield city. Now, let me share with you a specific case study. Right now, we are doing a project in Singapore. We are creating the virtual twin of the city of Singapore. So you'll be able to see what you have in the city, above the surface of the city and below the surface of the city. You'll be able to see the traffic system, the trees, the people, the hospitals, the fire brigades, the education systems, see water systems, sewerage system, transportation system. So you can actually see the virtual twin of a city. And you can make changes in the virtual twin to understand the impact that your decision is going to make on your real city. So that's one part of the solution. Now if you look at today worldwide, how our solutions are leveraged and how it can be leveraged. So one is that you build the virtual twin of the city, but you can use this virtual twin to even doing and conducting analysis like what will happen to your city if you have a flood, what will happen to your city if you have an earthquake, what will happen to the building of your city if you have a fire accident. Now, let me go to the next item, which is related to infrastructure. Today, some of the massive infrastructure projects are leveraging our technology. You can actually reduce the duration of your project. You can design an infrastructure in our applications, and then you can virtually construct the infrastructure. It could be a highway, it could be a huge metro line, it could be a large power station. So you can virtually roll it out and you can do optimization. And our experience shows you can reduce the duration of large infrastructure project by approximately 20% of the time. And you can demonstrate huge impact on the quality of delivery of the project. Now, yesterday I was in Orissa and inaugurated one of our projects for a large steel player. Tata Steel is setting up a huge steel plant, and they are talking about leveraging our application wherein you will see the virtual twin of the steel plant. You can roll out the project virtually and you can anticipate the problems that you're going to have. Now the last topic, which is related to design, I wanted to share with you that